Yes, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Sveta Banerjee. And Sveta is, she's been a TEDx speaker, a TV presenter, a prominent expert in impact investing. And as the founder and managing director of Impact Investing Solutions, she plays a pivotal role in shaping the impact investment landscape. Sveta holds the title of Impact Investing and Sustainable Finance Ambassador at the Diplomatic World Institute. Sveta also has been invited as a jury member at the Innosuisse Innovation Agency, and that's Switzerland is where she's based, providing valuable guidance in startup to businesses. So she is going to share with us today her wealth of knowledge. And she also shares that at universities like University of Zurich and ETH, very well-known universities, in the area of impact investing, fundraising, investment, and project management. And I thought this would be interesting to our community because I know a number of you are working on projects where you are looking for investment. And because many of your projects are open source projects, impact investing could be the right direction for you. So with that, Sveta, I'd like to turn it over to you to share your insights with us. And thank you again for being here today.
Thanks, Victoria, and it's really my honor to be here. And I will do my best to share the knowledge what we have till now, the many years of knowledge gathered in different countries, sectors, and I hope it will be useful for you guys to get funds one day. So as I'm not sure if everyone is familiar what is impact investing, I decided that we quickly go through the basics at the beginning, and then we dive deeper into fundraising space, and I will give you some useful and practical tips how actually do you get impact investors if you are entrepreneur, or maybe if later on you will work for some companies running a fund. So they are different actors who are actually trying to get the capital from impact investors. So I will give you some tips how you actually do that. So at this very nice picture where you see a lot of contrast, just to get you inspired with, right now our world is heading towards the disaster scenario, but we all wish that it would be green, nice and modern society like you see on the left picture. So impact investing could lead us there, but it's only when we really make it the new normal, right? And if we really understand its foundations and that we really adapt and change. Because what we say is also that, it's the nature of any business, and any business creates impact, positive or negative, if you measure it or not, or also any investment create impact, positive or negative, if you measure it or not, but it still does. So being aware of this third dimension of any investment, it's crucial so we can actually go to the right direction towards the green picture which you see here. And again, if you look at these two pictures, it's similar situations they faced, right? So they faced a Typhoon Yagi, but in two different countries, and one was prepared for some crisis scenario and the other not. So what we're trying to do here also with impact investing, once you incorporate nature and people into your business equation, you are actually prepared for the long term and have a solid base for your company to be successful. And the problems in the world are many, right? And we are also part of United Nations Global Compact Network. And as per their data, what's really not nice to see, we are 62 years behind the global agenda. So the numbers are really, can be very depressing. Yeah, that's still 700 million of kids are in extreme poverty, or global warming is predicted to reach 2.7 degrees by 2100. And so we are nowhere to reach those SDGs. And I'd like you to think why. So what are the reasons why we are not there, even though it seems that many companies are moving towards sustainability, a lot of talks going on, and impact investing is one of the most spread conferences nowadays. So really a lot of people come together, talk, but still we are not managing to do actions which will bring us achieving sustainable development goals. And the reason is actually very simple. The capital. So the capital is still not flowing fast enough to those companies who have already solutions to global challenges, right? On average, it takes 1 to 2 years to fundraise. And some companies never get money to make their missions realized. And that's why also I think fundraising is a very important topic to understand, so you can leapfrog and get the money which you need to create positive impact on our planet. Now, what is impact investing? In very simple words, you should have an underlying mission in your company. Either it's addressing accessible education or some action for climate change, or you want to solve pollution in the ocean or produce renewable energy. In the general terms, it's investment with an intention to generate beneficial social and environmental impact alongside financial return, and it should be measurable. So measurable is very important word key here, because sometimes we forget, we think we create some kind of impact, but we don't bother to measure it. And if you can't measure it, you actually can't manage it, right? So you only can manage things which you can measure and direct it in the right direction. So if you look at okay, this is investment, right? But what kind of businesses we are talking about here? At the first place, they usually are innovative, because to combine impact and profit, you need to be innovative. At least have innovative technologies or maybe innovative business model. So those impactful businesses are thinking out of the box and are creative. They're mission driven, as we said. They are scalable. So for investors, it's of course important that your solution will be scalable and not just remain a small kind of business, creating those social environmental impact, nice, but in order to get substantial returns, impact investors are also driven by the scale. So make sure your solution is scalable. And the last is the impact measurement. Again, so we measure impact. It's very important for impact investors. A lot of different organizations are trying to put impact investing in between normal traditional investment, philanthropic capital, charity. So like, where do we put it in between responsible, sustainable ESG practices? Nowadays, it can be actually confusing to understand what is what in order to take the right action. And so you need to imagine also that impact investing is itself, it also has different aspects. So on one side, impact investing can be closer to traditional financial markets, or they can be closer to philanthropic capital. Then the returns will be different and impact will be different as well. And so impact investing started actually not so long time ago. The term itself, the concept has been there for many decades, but the definition of impact investing was established not so far from Switzerland, in Italy, at Como Lake, by Rockefeller Foundation in 2007, and they defined it as what I said before. But before that, we were saying that some people, like I like to make this joke, couldn't sleep at night, and they said, okay, let's exclude tobacco, weapon industry, alcohol industry out of our investment scope. And then they called it responsible. Okay, so some industries were excluded. Then some others said, we can do more. Let's also be more inclusive and include those who incorporate good practices into their business, like reducing waste and so on, and name it sustainable, or ESG and sustainable, they kind of in the same in the same pillar here. But you need to understand also ESG itself, again, is like a spectrum. And some companies which are saying we are ESG driven can be very unsustainable and just doing very basic things. And you can see funds from banks which invest in Microsoft or Philip Morris, right? And say, oh, it's our sustainable fund. So you need to, again, be more, I'd say, more strict when you are looking at the investment to really understand, okay, what's inside of this sustainable fund? Is it really impact driven or not? And then finally, we come to this impact with 3 pillars. And the right side would be closer to impact only to philanthropic capital, right? Here we have deep impact, profound impact, life-changing, and still returns. So we say that impact investing must have returns or at least give your capital back, right? Because some impact investors provide interest-free loans. So they give you the capital, you don't have to pay interest rate, but you need to pay the capital back. So this is a big difference to philanthropic capital. When you receive capital, you don't have to pay it back. So I hope this was clear. And if not, the ones who are here are more than welcome to put questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to reply. So what we actually do at Impact Investing Solutions, and with my business partner, Ben Banerjee, who has been pioneering it in Netherlands, I've been pioneering impact investing in Switzerland. We do several things. So first is education. So like I talked today, we educate different stakeholders on the academia side, investors, businesses, government on impact investing and how to really incorporate sustainable development goals. We also created a TV show called Swiss Impact, where we share and inspire and show people and businesses who are already doing something good. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel in many cases. You can get inspired, you can bring solutions to your country, and it will be much faster than doing it from scratch, for example. And fundraising. So we support also businesses who are looking for investors to get the impact investors. We have the database of investors, and now we are also incorporated AI to speed up this process. Okay, so basically we are a holistic player who wants to see happy people and thriving Mother Nature on our planet. That's our main driver. I think you introduced me enough, so we can skip this part, maybe just the numbers. So we raised more than 500 million till now. We made more than 160 TV shows, and our outreach is growing. I hope we will exceed 5 million this year soon. Now, let's go to blockchain and impact investing. As you guys, I know, are very much inspired by these topics. And so I said, okay, how do you actually connect impact investing and blockchain? So blockchain characteristics like decentralization or immutability, anti-censorship give security as well to investors. And we have been supporting investments in impactful businesses in emerging markets, which are sometimes facing corruptions of authorities. So they were using blockchain technology to make this anti-corruption solution. That's very important in some countries. In artificial intelligence is altogether a bit different ballgame. And we are absolutely at the start of this revolution, even though it seems like AI has been here forever. But if you look at it, while the supporters say that it will solve most of our global issues like poverty, pollution, climate change, or food production, the level, the global playing field, etc., the critics say that it will actually disrupt also the labor market, reduce production costs disastrously, and those impacting also incomes, right, of many people. So let's see how the future will look like with AI. And what we though know that the future will be vastly different than today. So we will come back to this important trend as well. Now, so blockchain in impact investing, what does it bring? First of all, it ensures transparency and traceability in funding flows. So that's very important. It's used as well in many applications in supply chain tracking, carbon credits, and decentralized finance, so-called DeFi. Yeah. It also provides immutable records for measuring impact outcomes and enables tokenized micro investments, smart contracts for automation, and global peer-to-peer lending platforms. And of course, that's not all, but that what we see that then those companies are also aware of the impact and they turn it, incorporating sustainable development goals into their business models. If we look now at AI in impact investing, so it drives data-driven decision-making for fund allocation. It also provides predictive analytics for accessing risk and ROI on social environmental project. So risk and ROI are very important topic in any investment, and you should always think about, okay, what is actually the risk? Because when you do your pitch to investors, they are always thinking about, okay, what is the risk? So even if you don't talk about it, they will be thinking about it. So it's better if you put out that you know what the risks are and how you're going to mitigate it. And of course, AI can help you in those assessments, and the same for ROI. It can create different scenarios also to help you to understand what is a real ROI or different scenarios in that. Better than simple Excel sheet. Then the third is optimizing resources allocation by analyzing large data sets, right? And for us, for example, it was also important topic because if you want to fundraise and you need to access enormous amount of data about the investors project and see if they're really good match. So AI can do it in fraction of seconds and tell you, okay, this one is actually a good match. When you would be thinking, yeah, this one not, but this one, yes. So it really makes the whole process more efficient and cost effective and saves enormous amount of time, which is money for both sides, for project and for investors. Last topic is definitely enhancing the real-time analytics for impact measurement, offering personalized portfolios and also identifies underserved regions. So we are now also working on impact measurement with AI, and I hope maybe by mid or end of the year, we will provide also some solution on impact measurement supported by AI. Now, what are the synergies of these two, right? So we talked about blockchain and AI. So what can be found together? So on one side, AI is processing blockchain transparent data to provide actionable insights. On the other hand, blockchain ensures secure real-time data integrity, while AI analyzes this data to optimize fund allocation and decision-making. So combining blockchain with AI will enable more inclusive, more ethical, and more impactful investment opportunities globally. And what we see slowly, it becomes kind of inevitable not to use those AI especially, right? Otherwise, you will be outcompeted. If you don't integrate it, you will be outcompeted very soon. So with AI, I'm not absolutely a big fan to say that, oh, it's AI and no humans. Absolutely not. AI without humans is not going to have success because still, when I use AI myself and it's not guided by me, it can still make mistakes and go completely in the other direction. Or if it's too complex, it just switches off, you know. It is hanging. So then without humans, AI will not succeed, right? So that's what we need to understand, that you just need to change and get the skills, how to properly use it, how to ask questions properly, how to integrate it into your business, that it really helps you and liberates time. What one of my friends says that AI should help us to become human beings and not human doings, because a lot of time we have a lot of task, do. And ideally we should still have more time. So if it can help liberate us time, I think that AI definitely can help us with. Okay, now I want to give you a few examples. Also, they came to our TV show, young, talented guys. And so the Kraft Health companies, they use AI to optimize 3D printed and also personalized medicines, so they make it really personalized, and also some nutraceuticals. And this really is a game changer for dosages, then you only take so much medicine as you actually need. Because once a patient gets healthier, we still take the same amount of pill, but we actually need much less, right? And it also reduces manufacturing waste dramatically and enhancing ingredient bioavailability and treatment efficacy. So it's really amazing, perfect example of how AI can improve health outcomes while contributing to sustainability. So I encourage you to watch this episode for those who are interested in these topics. Then the next one is also amazing. So Valuance Ventures, they invest in clean tech, deep tech, biotech startups, and which also incorporate AI to strengthen the solutions and provide very innovative solutions, sometimes which we wouldn't even think about. And they align profit with purpose through sustainable investment strategies. And they enable really long-term sustainability and growth in different sectors across renewable energy, resource efficiency, and healthcare. Again, you can watch this on our YouTube channel. Now, just to kind of round it up, so why would any entrepreneur today, or should even, consider impact and sustainability? Because what we see, many are still like, yeah, impact, it's not important. They are still focusing on profits only, which is a pity. And in the long term, I see really like it will, if you are including SDGs and you have sustainable business practices, you will get better talents. You will get better investors. You will have better and more loyal clients as well. And of course, partners, right? So it's like, it's becoming a no-go not to be sustainable. And what you should also look at different trends, so demographic trends in our world. It will affect markets in the next 20, 50 years dramatically as well. Climate change will reshape the world in the next 10 to 20 years as well, right? It's really changing. Artificial intelligence, what we say, revolutionizing business in the next 5 to 10 years. You will see the big difference. And one more is a consciousness shift. At every conference almost that I attend, and maybe I attend more impact-driven conference, but still, there are always speakers, and we are also encouraging the consciousness shift and going towards your true nature, interconnectedness with nature. When you feel the interconnectedness with nature, you don't want to harm it, right? If you feel interconnected with other people, and you can, at least in your mind, realize that we are all one, then you wouldn't harm other people. But some people are more advanced already. They can not only think about it, they feel it, right? And those are the ones who are talking about it. Yes, we feel we are one. So why are we harming ourselves by harming nature, by harming other people? So consciousness shift is really going on. Many of my friends, and we can see it around, there are many more consciousness awareness workshops, webinars, yoga, meditation, whatever path. There are many different paths there, but it's really taking off now. So I think a big consciousness shift is expecting us as well along the way. Now, we go to more finance part of today's talk, the fundraising. And let me just quickly check if you had any questions here. How would you differentiate between impact investment and social enterprise? Okay, Mir, it's a very good question. So basically, they are just different terms, right? So social enterprise creates always social and environmental impact. Sometimes they are not measuring it. And sometimes when they use the term social enterprise, they mean social and environmental enterprise. So impact investment is just always considering both social and environmental impacts. And some companies have more focus, of course, on people and the others more on environment. Like if you look at SDGs, some of them are really about people, like accessible healthcare, accessible education, and the other like climate change, biodiversity loss, life on land, life on water. They are more focusing on the nature. But in reality, both the nature driven and people driven social enterprises, they have both social and environmental impact. That's why we encourage also to pay attention to both. Yeah, even you can call yourself social enterprise. Also, sometimes investors don't like this word social because it gives them an impression then it's definitely kind of philanthropic and not a business, impactful business, right? That's why we call it impactful business and not social enterprise, so that you are the investors know, okay, it is a business, it is impactful, and it can have either social or environmental, but in fact, it's both, right? Social and environmental impact. I hope that answers your question. Thanks for the question. All right, now let's dive into fundraising part here. And there are different types of investment, of course. I'm not sure if any of you has done fundraising before. How it usually starts at bootstrapping, right? Bootstrapping when you just put your own funds, your own time, and you are trying to survive till you get the first minimum viable product or get the first portion of investment, or till some of your friends, family, and fools, the famous FFF, will believe into your vision, right? So then the second sometimes you can convince your grandma or whoever friend, and then they provide you additional capital. Equity finance. So then if your company is raising capital, you give portion of shares and get proper investment in. Crowdfunding can be also very good for certain enterprises. We are right now actually having our crowdfunding campaign for the World Impact Center. And in spite of having bigger investors, we wanted to open it up for smaller investors as well, to build a community of like-minded people. So it's not always a source for just money, but also to building your community, because then you attract like-minded people who might support you with different things, not only with money. Don't underestimate crowdfunding. It's even though they invest small amount of money, but it's complicated in terms of compliance, the setting up whole social media campaigns. You need a lot of resources for the whole team to support it. So it's really a lot of work. Yeah, Asen and David are here. They know it. It's a lot of work and it's a teamwork, but it can have great results. So now also you can, if you want to become the investor in our World Impact Center, you're more than welcome in Canada. So it would be great to have some of investors from your continent there. Asen, maybe you can share the link. If somebody is interested, they can check it out. The next type of investment is awards and grants. So as a company, especially a startup, there are many opportunities out there to get awards and grants. And on impact investing sector, it's the same, right? There's specialized competition for climate change funds, for example, right? Or some others. And governments are also providing grants, or universities, a lot of different opportunities there. Loan is also an option in impact investing. As I said, some are interest-free, the other very small interest. But also you need to pay attention that there are impact sharks on the market. So I am absolutely amazed sometimes to see that interest rates for impactful businesses are higher at some venture capitalists than for normal businesses, right? So you need to always see, okay, who is really meaning about impact and who is profiting from this concept. And strategic investment, when you got on board a bigger company who invests in you and also advises you with different strategic decisions and provides some technical assistance. Now, when you look at this chart, it represents different types of funds and different stages where your company can be, right? At the seed stage, early stage, when you have your product developed and already start maybe manufacturing, and growth stage established, and then you want to expand. So impact investment is present at all these stages. So you can find seed impact investors, early stage and growth stage impact investors as well. Right, but it will be again if it's growth, then it's mostly banks, impact funds, also some private individuals, of course. The early stage are typically some specialized early stage impact funds, angel impact investors, and at the seed also some angel impact investors are present, or grants, crowdfunding, all these competitions, and public funds, of course. Now, some really practical key questions from some impact investors, and you can watch these TV shows as well once you go fundraising. What questions would you get if you're in front of impact investor? So here, Steven is one of the pioneers in impact investing. His family has been doing impact investing for, I think, more than 30 years, and he is really one of the impact investors. So he will definitely ask you about your impact. So you need to know what's your impact, which SDGs are you addressing, what are the targets behind the SDGs, because we are all used to 17 SDGs, but every SDG has behind some target. And I always recommend to study it, because sometimes we think we address one or the other SDG, but in reality we don't. I'll give you an example. So some retreat center will say, oh, we're contributing to goal number 3, health and well-being. But if you look at the targets, it's about reducing mortality rates, right? It's not about just feeling better, right? So you need to be careful, because otherwise impact investors will not take you seriously. How do you measure your impact? What are your KPIs, right? So you need to be aware of that. Or is your team complete? For impact investors, it's also for many other investors, the team is a key, right? So they invest in people, especially at early stage. So if you are one woman show, one man show enterprise, it's not a good sign, because it's a lot of risk for an investor. If you are not there, who's gonna to realize your mission? So the team is important. Now we had another investor, maybe you recognize him. It's the original shark, Mr. Kevin Harrington from US. And he also been on our TV show twice. And second time he came to Impact Shark Tank to interview the finalists of the competition, and he was asking them questions. And as you know, he is or still sometimes he's a shark guy. So for him, okay, the favorite question, when it's not clear, the first we will gonna ask, what's your business model? How do you make the money? Impact investment, it's still an investment. It's not a charity. So he wants at least his money back. So it's important you know what's your business model. And also, did you receive any funds before? Because if nobody wants to be the first one, right? If you already managed to convince someone to give you some funds, it's a good sign, right? So if you received funds before, okay, it's already like you are put at the next level. If you have existing investors, and what are your milestones? So you need to be able to put this picture of your vision for the next 3 to 5 years. Sometimes entrepreneurs come to us and they just know, okay, maybe end of the year and that's it. That's not enough. So you need to really paint it out. So, okay, what's going to happen? How are you going to, what you're going to do next year in 5 years? So you need to have the vision out there and milestones. And the last one here, somehow it's covering the runway. Yeah, the runway, it's basically how much money every month you're burning, right? So when are you going to get out of money? And when you fundraise, this number is very important. Nobody likes desperate projects. Nobody likes when you're desperate looking for money, that you have no money anymore. And then what usually investors do, they lean back and they wait. How are you going to solve this problem if you run out of money? That's why we recommend to fundraise, first of all, enough money, and also not only enough money, be aware that fundraising can take 6, 9, 12 months. And in current geopolitical situations, sometimes even more. We have experiences that it's really taking longer, even though the project has everything. Amazing story. All the track record, all the product there, the land, impact, already at a good stage, but still, right now, it's not a very easy environment. Okay, and the third point on funding, before you even start fundraising, please prepare your data room. The one-pager, pitch deck, your legal documents, financial plan, and all the questions like use of funds, how are you going to use the money, and all the industry-specific licenses, whatever it's needed, exit strategy, it should be addressed, because otherwise you will not be prepared for facing investors who are serious. They're going to ask you a lot, and there are even documents like 100 questions to investors. So read those, prepare yourself, and then you're going to face them. Now, solid financial model, and as I'm an ex-banker, I thought I will put it also out here because I see many financial models which are not strong enough. And at the University of Zurich or ETH, I was working with engineers, to create financial model in 4 hours from scratch. It's possible. It's not the latest version of it, but it's possible, right? And what we always pay focus on, that it should be realistic, it should be clear, and you should have very accurate and credible assumptions. Because when you have this financial model and then you realize, okay, if I change a little bit interest rate from 7 to 5%, it has a huge impact on my valuation, or if I change, or my income and revenue. So it's really, that's why you need to have very realistic assumptions. And a realistic valuation will result out of it then. Okay, and why? So the why is very simple, because the investor want to see the evidence how the money will be paid back. Yeah, they want to see that. Yeah, let me check. There are some more questions, I think. Does your entity have to map to the SDGs, or are there other benchmarks of making positive global impact? Thanks for your question, Victoria. Yes, there are other frameworks, but what we see that SDGs are still very practical. It's widely accepted by many impact investors and entrepreneurs, and it's really helping the matching. So till now, we didn't see any better framework. And of course, it's not perfect. Some are even against SDGs. But okay, what is the alternative? I find SDGs quite complete in themselves. But of course, it's not perfect. But it is helping. As long as it's help, and the 2030 agenda will run out in 2030. We'll see how then United Nations will transform the SDGs and what will be the next framework, how they will put it. But till now, it has been very useful for us as well. So now, very briefly on legal structure, because I think you are aware of it. So the core message here, it must be investor friendly, because many companies are creating impact not in the country itself, like in Switzerland, but they are trying to create impact somewhere in Africa, in Nigeria, for example. So, but then for investor, it's very scary to invest in company based in Nigeria. So usually what they do is then establish a company in Switzerland and in Nigeria, and then the investor gives the money in the company in Switzerland, and then the Swiss company will put operational costs, transfer operational costs monthly to the company in Nigeria to make sure that the money is not corrupted and not used properly. So that's what you need to think about, the country of incorporation. And legal structure, of course, the ENC is usually preferable, because then investors are having their confidentiality and not disclosed to public compared to LLPs. Best practices, what you should do: be inspiring, confident when you pitch. It doesn't matter what your company is doing, but you need to be very inspirational, confident about your mission. Be open for learning and mentorship. If you're a student, especially, it's important if you can find some mentor who is already an entrepreneur or who can support you in different operational tasks. So you don't make mistakes. They act as a GPS who can bring you A to B much faster with no dead ends, you know, so you need to go back. So it's really beneficial for enterprise. Take risks. Sometimes it's important. So especially if you're innovating on something, many people will say, no, it's not going to work, or you're crazy. But then in a couple of years, its results, it has been the best decision ever, but you need to have guts and taking that risk. Invest in yourself. I love that, because I have a feeling now, after working in banking industry, becoming entrepreneur and so on, that even if I lose everything today, I'm fine. I know how to rebuild it. You know, I learned so much on the way and invest so much in education, languages, whatever. It's because you are your asset, and then you can rebuild it. And many successful entrepreneurs, they failed 10 times before their next enterprise was successful. The don'ts, reinventing the wheel. I know many like that. Reinventing the wheel is not the best thing. So always check the market. If you have a great idea, check what's already out there. And nowadays with AI, it can be done really fast. It can help you to analyze what's already existing. Don't do it alone. Again, ask for some expert mentor advices or team members. It's not always beneficial to do it alone. Don't be desperate. There's always solution. And sometimes we just need to accept the way it happens. Usually after 3 years, you will know why it's happened that way. For me to come here and not there. So just relax, enjoy the ride. It's if you want to become entrepreneur, it's not a straight line to the success. It's up and down, and it's okay. It's a roller coaster. I think when we were all kids, we like that. So why not in entrepreneurship? And you need to learn, right? It's not a failure. You're learning. So. Okay, and what to avoid? Because I wanted to address this topic, and I promise I'm almost done with my slides. The greenwashing or impact washing nowadays, many states, they do impact investing when in reality they don't. There are many which are doing impact marketing out there and promoting themselves as impactful, but they are not. Maybe they are sustainable, but it's still not the impact with a mission driven behind. So be careful that you know where you stand. So if you're a sustainable business, it's fine. Just name yourself sustainable. Don't go the wrong path of impact washing. some are not using impact measurement, even if they say we are impact business, they don't measure the impact. So make sure you measure your impact. And the common mistake here is that we have some, how to say, so we have a business, we did some action on our side, and then already after we intervened in some community or whatever product, then we start measuring impact. But you need to measure it before your intervention as well, right? So you need to measure it at least twice in order to understand what's the impact, because sometimes you cannot measure it back, right? So you need to start measuring impact also before the intervention happened, either it's product, service, people's life, or nature. So just be aware of that, because it seems to be common, normal, but if you didn't hear it and you are new, you can make this mistake. Sometimes we also tend to ignore the negative effects. If you look at impact reports, they're also like rosy glasses, I call it. Everything is so great and impactful and positive. But then if you dive deeper, look at their supply chains, then you find some negative effects which are absolutely not mentioned. It's okay to mention that you have some still negative, but you're working towards improving it and making it positive. And also emphasizing short-term outcomes over long-term sustainable impact. So it's important to have the big vision in place always, right? Okay. Very quickly, if you get or trying to get an investor, remember they're humans. They want to have a relationship, and it's a long-term relationship. Even if they didn't give you money at the first shot, keep the relationship with them. Maybe in half a year, they will do that. If you are updating them, you're respecting them, and you communicate with them. The expectations needs to be addressed for both sides. Your expectations towards investor, what do you expect from them? Only money, or you want them to support being strategic investor, and then they will support you with expertise and network. So you need to be clear on that. So to find the right type of investor, because sometimes it can end in a disaster if you got the wrong investor. And once I had a very funny case, there was a young woman entrepreneur, and she said, "Look, I found an investor. He wants to give the money, but I don't like him. Should I still take the money?" And I'm like, actually, better no. It's like a marriage, If you don't like him, if there is a bad chemistry, he will annoy you. He will whatever. Even in business, And it's a lot of examples where bad investor just destroyed the companies, and it was not a success. So you need to have also good chemistry with your investors. Do they have the money? A lot of investors love to go and see nice projects and not to invest. It happens. It's nice to be in the position of investor, but actually you have the right to ask, okay, do you have the money? Not like this directly, but okay, you need to understand how much they invest, and can they allocate the money now or in 1 month, in 3 months? So be very honest here. And it's always both-sided, right? So it's a marriage, it's both-sided. Both needs to say yes. Ideal situation is when you found many investors and you can choose, from this one I take 100K, from this one I take 1 million, and this one I don't want. Yeah. So you need to feel it also. You have the power, you have the vision, you are the founder. So you have this power of choosing as well. Not only investor is choosing you, you are also choosing the investor. And so that's why you need to have maybe 1-2 lead investors who are putting a lot of money, and to diversify smaller investors. Then not only one investor has a power over you. So that's important. And I think that's the last slide. Few tips. Yeah, I think after today's speech, you feel that we really believe it is the future, impact investing, right? And important, if you fundraise, you need to get your paperwork done. Without it, it's usually even this pitch is inspiring, then the investor asks, okay, let me show you your data room. And you have no financial plan, no business plan, and then you're quickly doing it in 1 week time, and you send some half-made stuff to investor and you have one shot. So properly prepare the paperwork before you start dating the investors. Okay, measure your impact, set up KPIs. So, and the last, capital security may increase the risk of missing transformative opportunities. And again, one more. I'm sorry, guys, but that's the definitely last inputs. Too many inputs. Okay. Yeah, high returns can only be achieved through changes which we fear, right? We need to overcome our fears to come to love. I know if you know about that, we just have two feelings, fear and love. All the rest is just derived from one or the other one, right? So you need to come to love when you're a founder to get your inspirations to take the right decisions. And impact investment, it promises the gains, but in the long term. Don't search like short-term quick stuff here. We need to go back to the long term, because the idea of investment was that it is a long term. The bankers, because of greed, desires, they made this investment for quick short returns, but actually this is investment itself. It is a long-term engagement. Focus to adapt the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, or other business practices, and be willing to change. The world is moving very fast, and you need to be very flexible in order to catch up, adapt your business models. Yeah, I think we are here. So watch the TV show, subscribe, go to social media of ours, and if you want to become our investor, then go ahead. We will be very happy to have some Canadian investors as well on our site. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Sveta. That was really a rich presentation, so much great information, and so inspiring for those who feel very motivated to make a positive impact on the world, to think about how you can achieve that practically through impact investing. So I know there's some more questions in the chat for you. So
Yep.
please go ahead and look through those questions and see if there's anything
Let me
you'd like
check.
to add.
Yes. So
You
from
can
here,
yeah.
in contrast, just give me some scrolling here. In contrast to the conventional startup fundraise, while raising investment in impact investment segment, if equity share model is practiced or even encouraged. Well, it depends on the stage. So usually when you're a startup, it's advisable to proceed with equity investment. Because if you start with the loans and then later with equity, then the loans are usually needs to be paid first, when it doesn't go well. So the equity investors don't like it, right? So it's easier and better for the startup to go first for equity investors. But at the later stages, if you don't want to have more shareholders, you just can get a loan, especially after 3 years. Like in Switzerland, it's usually you need to be 3 years operational, have your annual accounts for 3 years already. So you need to be basically in the 4th year of operations, and then after you can get some loans. So you don't, and it can be faster than equity, but then it depends. You need to pay interest rate or not, but then it's also possible. So I would advise first equity and then loan. And in reality, it will be also easier because loans can be provided by some government, or some impact funds do these interest-free loans as well. So, but normally it is equity first and then loan. Okay.
That's great advice. Thank you.
And for you, Victoria, would choice of advisors be different for impact entity versus standard for profit? What would impact investor look for? What exactly do you mean? Which advisors?
So I know that sometimes investors, when you're fundraising, they'll look at who's advising the company and is how credible the company is
Mm.
in this space that you're entering into. And I'm just wondering,
I see.
a little bit different focus that impact investors would have from a traditional investor in that regard.
Well, it's, I think a healthy mix is helping because we have in our company also a mix of impact and non-impact experts. And also in our advisory board, we have president of Mauritius, we have one Prince of Dubai is a patron, but we also have some family office guy from Singapore as well. So you need to have a mix in what makes sense, what contributes to your business. It doesn't make sense to have advisory board of only marketing people from business world, right? So you need ideally to cover the key areas of the business, and for different businesses it can be a bit different, of course, that are covered, because then you show, okay, we have seniority on our board to cover those topics properly in the right level. But it's good if you're especially impact business to have someone who has expertise in this sector or advising you, of course, on impact measurement. If you have no idea about it, then definitely it helps as well to show. And the next one, what would be some good examples of impact KPIs, since I know that measuring impact is quite challenging very often. Well, why don't you watch our online course on impact measurement? And we provide 400 KPIs, which are universal, and you can use them for different business areas and also for impact. Because
Right.
impact enterprises are very different, and like education and climate change, what we did, we analyzed the best practices, like also Iris Plus, project management and all this, and tried to put something universal for smaller companies, very practical, that they can then take them and, if necessary, adjust for education, adjust for climate change, and also, if you go to Iris Plus, I mean, for one SDG, sometimes they are 200 metrics. For other SDGs, they are none. And it's like, God, if you are new, it demotivates you completely. And nothing against Iris. They did great work till a certain extent. So we also use that part of great work in our framework. But please watch this course. It's on Udemy. You can find it also on our website. Maybe guys from my team, you can send direct link to impact measurement course so you can get it in more detail. And of course, it's important also to make surveys with your clients and beneficiaries, not only, how to say, measure what you think and like without contact with your end beneficiaries, because they are the best mirror. Are you really creating impact? So you need to talk to them. So we have in the online course, we also provide some questionnaires examples. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can adapt it and use it.
I know we've only got a little bit of time left, and I see that Stephen Chu has his hand up. So Stephen, if you'd like to ask your question.
Steven?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just have some question. If you have any quick advice for if we ever have to face an individual who is, I guess, struggling to adapt and accept the importance of global sustainability, whether it's like a client, investor, just generally. Do you have any advice when we have to like kind of interact or face them?
Yeah, I mean, what I say, it's not a moral choice, but it is a smart choice. It's not really, it's a smart choice because of what I said before. You will get better talents, clients, investors, and partners in the long term. So it's really a smart choice. And even that's why many guys who are not driven by impact, they transform towards sustainability as well, because they understand we will be outcompeted. Also, if you're just profit driven, it's a smart choice. And then regulation is catching up. The risks are increasing if you are not doing it. So then you are digging for yourself a hole if you are not doing it now, but you will do it when you will be forced to do it. And I'm sure you will be.
Wow, that is so informative. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Right.
Very good
Great.
note. And I will say this too. I sort of feel that just, this is anecdotal evidence. This isn't anything that I have empirical evidence to support, but I would say that a lot of women entrepreneurs feel much more enthusiastic about the social impact, the impact investing avenue or route than just
Mhm.
a hardcore for profit. I certainly feel that way myself, want to have a positive impact on the world, and I get a lot more excited about that than just making a lot of money.
Right. But this is from our nature, right? Because we care about the household, kids, society, community, right? So that's by the nature as well. But what I'm happy to see that all these women who had sustainability positions and were not listened to, suddenly they are listened to, and they have the weight in many companies now. And it's good to see that the men, many of them didn't understand before, still don't understand, but many also do understand and agree, because it's in their own experience. They also see climate change, they also see pollution, they also see many challenges facing, right? So then they say, okay, yeah, indeed we need to do something, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
We
they are
have to
also
do it. We
driven.
have to work together. It's not a,
Absolutely.
men
Yeah.
versus
So
women. It has to
across
happen both.
countries, across the globe, and we've been traveling quite a lot in 2024. It's really the unity. We can't do it alone. No, only if it's a consciousness will unite, then we can manage. And there are all solutions available already. We just need to act, and the capital is also there. So just move it towards solutions who are already out there. And I believe we still have a hope. As humans, we have hearts, we have hope. So I believe we'll manage that. Don't know how yet, but let's see.
Well, bringing our creativity and unity, I think, is a positive message to end on. And thank you so much for inspiring us with this wonderful talk, Sveta, with your enthusiasm, your vision, and sharing all of your knowledge with us. And I hope that everybody felt inspired. And although we didn't have a large number of people on the call, we do reach a larger audience when we post this online. And so I hope
Hmm.
the message will penetrate out there, will echo out there, and we will inspire a lot more people with your message. So thank
Great. I
you
hope
again.
so too. Thanks so much for inviting me, and maybe next time offline.
Yes. That would be great. We'll look forward to that.
Have a lovely afternoon, and
Yeah,
stay in touch. Thank you so much, everyone.
thank you. Thank you.